All right, so as a couple folks, we'll have a couple folks, Terry, that'll continue to join. I'm going to go ahead and see about streaming on Facebook in just a moment here. Okay, so first of all, welcome everyone. My name is Felicia Perry. I'm the Executive Director of the West Broadway Business and Area Coalition. Welcome to our Northside Business Luncheon. July 2021, our topic is digital marketing. So we appreciate you all attending our monthly gathering that we co-facilitate and partner with NEON, which is the Northside Economic Opportunity Network, one of our community partners in bringing together businesses across, well, it's really businesses across the city now start attending our luncheons, but bringing together businesses, various experts and experiences in order for us to learn and build and grow our businesses together. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and hand this over to WBC Program Manager, Brian McLaurin. Take it away, Brian.
Thank you, Felicia. Welcome, everyone. As always, I'm excited today about our topic as well as our panelists. I know I say that every month, but I'm genuinely excited every month at this time when we have the opportunity to share information with the community. Before we get into our panel discussion today, just want to provide a few updates. One, let's be a reminder that the Flow Artist Crawl is coming up at the end of this month, beginning Thursday, July 29th through Saturday, July 31st. Great opportunity to come out and look at the artists and experience the North Side experience from an artist perspective. Great family event. So we're hoping you all will take time out to be a part of that and come let yourself be seen on the West Broadway corridor. Another piece of information I'd like to provide is DEED is recruiting community members to serve as grant reviewers for adult and youth workforce development training grants during the summer and fall of 2021. They are seeking people with an interest in workforce development and experience in grant making, education, training, workforce, and or related areas. DEED will provide a small stipend to eligible community reviewers who meet eligibility requirements, complete training and review on time, and complete the required process to receive payments. We will provide additional information, in terms of how to get more information about that opportunity. At this time, I'm going to briefly turn it over to Terry Austin, who is an community engagement person over at NEON. Terry, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Brian. Again, Terry Austin, the community engagement manager here at NEON. Just want to give you guys a quick update on the upcoming event that we have co-hosted with the West Broadway Coalition. It's going to be our Northside Business Roundtable. The topic is going to be about public policy, public safety. Again, it's going to be about public safety. It's going to be at Sanctuary Covenant Church here on Broadway from 4 to 6 on July 22nd. So we're going to have a robust conversation, just really the concerns of some of our citizens and business leaders and the business owners here on the North Side. We want to really discuss public safety and what that's going to mean with the Metro Transit bus line, not bus line, but the transit line that's coming through the North Side. So we want to have a really robust conversation in regards to the overall public safety of our citizens and our business owners. So please join us next week, July 22nd at Covenant Church here on Broadway. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Terry. Well, let's get into our discussion on digital marketing. Let me do the honors of introducing you all to our panelists for today. Beginning with Maija Hoehn. Maija leads the engagement group at Broadhead, which consists of media, public relations, digital, social, and analytic experts. She is a strategic communications leader committed to using all available data to develop integrated and effective advertising campaigns. Her day-to-day focus is on paid, earned, and owned channel alignment, as well as providing complete measurements of all campaign activities. Working in various industries during her career, Maija has remained committed to developing campaigns that deliver results while maintaining creative integrity and brand integration. Some of her brand experience includes Syngenta, Cargill, Kubota, you might have to correct me on that, Maija, Boehringer, Ingelheim, P.F. Chang's, Simon's Bedding, and H&R Block. Maija is also involved as a member, speaker, and judge throughout various advertising-related industry groups, including the 4As, Effie Awards, AdFab, and the Brand Lab. Maija, would you be so kind to raise your hand so everyone would know who you are?
Hi, thanks for having me today.
Welcome, we're glad to have you. Next, we have Pam McCurdy. The marketing troupe was started by Pam McCurdy to serve small businesses and nonprofits. The marketing troupe is a publicity and consulting firm that believes there is an art to creating strategic publicity and marketing campaigns. We blend expertise in story development, image building, and special event marketing with an eye to creating buzz among media, driving business sales or fundraising goals. We transcend the boundaries of conventional public relations with multifaceted editorial, strategic marketing, social media, corporate social responsibility, and event campaigns that generate precise media messaging. We work across all sectors of corporate and cultural landscapes. We provide the depth to understand the many layers that go into engaging influential press leaders, tastemakers, and consumers. Pam has professionally managed social media since 2008 and has appeared on many panels as an expert in social media. Her background includes PR media relations work for the White House, Governor's Office of Minnesota, the Minnesota State Fair, the Super Bowl, and many small businesses and nonprofits. The team of 5 is growing in 2021. Pam, if you would be so kind to raise your hand so everyone knows who you are, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Great to be here again. Thank you. Thanks, Neon on West Broadway.
Oh, we love that type of excitement. Last but certainly not least, we have Tess Montgomery. Tess is a young communicator and visionary living in St. Paul. She is a digital marketing specialist at TPC Twin Cities PBS and marketing and communications manager for the More Than a Single Story. She is a 2018 fellow with the Josie R. Johnson Leadership Academy, a 2017 fellow with New Sector Academy, and has served on the board of Young Nonprofit Professionals Network of the Twin Cities. Tess is passionate about the power of grassroots community-led organizing. She holds a degree in journalism and mass communications from Drake University. Tess, would you be so kind as to wave to our audience so they know who you are? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so glad to have each and every one of you here today. And so let's get the elephant out of the room. What is digital marketing?
Well, I will jump in. I was telling Brian before this started that might be the most difficult question I've ever gotten in my career because it is such a big question. But in essence, for me, digital marketing is anything that is done on these machines you're watching us with, anything on your phone, any sort of communication or messaging that comes through a digital channel. So that's like at its essence, it's anything there. But I think even more than that, digital marketing is complicated because it's ever changing. Every day something changes. And so as a marketer and as a brand, it's hard to really stay on top of it. But it also is a really awesome playground to test different things, to try to find unique ways to reach your target audience. It's also highly targeted. So you can go after really specific people in really specific places, which I think is going to be really important for a lot of the businesses on this call, because you can really, really target where people are at a radius around your business. And because of that, and because it's all digital, it's highly measurable. So there's ways that you can quickly find out what's working, and either if it's working, do more of it. If it's not working, get out of it quickly. So that's my answer to that very large question you were posing to us, Brian.
Can we build on that? Pam or Tess, is there something else we can add to that?
Yeah, no, she really hit the nail on the head in terms of, I would just say that it's, anything online, public facing form of communication, like she said, to communicate with your audience, which is another term for your supporters, people that like your product, or people that you want to connect with your product. Could be segmented in different ways into audiences like that. And you can get that information from doing some digital marketing tactics. And yeah, that's all I would add. That's a pretty good definition.
I think that's all that is great. I do believe that as a small business owner, your biggest challenge is how to get into the digital marketing space and not go down the rabbit hole of every single digital marketing tool and find out the right one for you. So that's the jump for the small businesses, is finding out where your audience is, how to do it, how you're going to do it yourself.
Wow. Well, since we're here, since we have the elephant out the room and we have all this space now, can you all speak to the different types of digital marketing?
Yeah. I studied what was called integrated marketing in college. There was a class I took on it, and basically what that means is like marrying all these different forms of marketing together. And if we're talking about digital marketing, again, that's going to be online. So you have your social media, which is like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, things like that. You have your digital ads. So that means like clickable ads on any news publications, or you see them on Facebook, and well, that's already social media, but you see them when you go visit like Insight News or northnews.com. Sometimes there will be ads on the sides. That's just digital advertising. And then you can also throw in like radio advertising too. So like ads that you hear on KMOJ. And then also, just sponsorships, Q has their weekly announcements. That's also a form of, I would say, advertising and digital advertising, because it's done through the radio and people could stream that and hear some information that way too. But I'll let them jump in with some more forms.
I'll add some other ones. So there's paid search. So when you go to Google or to Bing and you're looking up a particular topic, some of those listings that are on that search engine results page are what's called organic. So it's based on how the internet is crawling your website, but the ones that are going to appear at the top most likely are paid ads. So people are going in, they're bidding on specific keywords, and then they're serving a text ad and hoping that you click on it. Also, text messaging is a form of digital marketing. That can be a really efficient way to communicate with your audience if you have their cell phone numbers and you have their opt-in to communicate with you. You can't get much closer to someone than this, because we have it on us all the time. So texting is a great way. Email marketing, same thing. It's a one-to-one form of marketing. But then I also want to throw out just the website, your website presence. That's probably your biggest channel of digital marketing, because that's kind of your home, your digital home. And as well with that, even thinking about how you show up with like your Google business pages, like your business listing on Google that has your phone number, maybe you have hours that you're open, your reviews, things like that. That is a big part of the mix. And as Tess talked about, as you think about an integrated program, you want to make sure that the way you're showing up online is good, because that's what anything you're paying for, spending time to get people there. You want to make sure that's the best user experience they can have.
Well, I would add that from working with a lot of Neon and West Broadway clients, that we this stuff is all fantastic, and it's all how you want to build all these things. But I think at the beginning it's really hard when we're trying to look at all these pieces of, oh my gosh, there's Google, there's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, yada, 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 all the things we've listed. So, how to get started, where to really look to get a digital presence. When I work with clients, I talk first with them about, if hopefully they've written a business plan, or hopefully y'all have written a business plan, and that we can look at your target market. So for example, I work with a lot of restaurants. If you look at the how people find restaurants, first of all, they start within 2 miles of their home, right? So let's start there, right? And first of all, 2 miles around you, how are you marketing to them? Are you buying, what kind of social media ads, Google ads? Google is really important in the search piece. One of my clients, Hamburguesas El Gordo in South Minneapolis, I was just filming a video there Tuesday, and we were filming, asking people if they would be in the video. These 4 guys came in, and they were from Chicago. And they said, because I said, "Oh, are you customers here?" And they said, "No, we're from Chicago. We just Googled and found you, and this was so highly rated." So yes, 2 miles within, but then also people coming in from out of town, or Googling, Mexican street food or soul food or whatever you happen to be selling is really important too. So you want to find out your business plan, what kind of your 3 customer bases are, and you want to build your digital presence off of that. I know a lot of Neon and West Broadway clients at the beginning are especially, frustrated with websites. So how to figure out how to do a website, maybe you have to use Wix or they're kind of set up GoDaddy, some of these that help you kind of go along with the website. And those are fine. If that's an affordable way to do it. I've actually seen a couple of restaurants go out of business because they spent a ton of money on a website and it was too much money. Then they didn't have the cash flow to keep doing other things. So you really want to work with your, however you're working with a business advisor or your team, or, maybe some friends to help you kind of process through that. But you want to make sure that, if you put a website up, that you have money for other things, to build other social medias, to build your Google presence, and to build some other advertising that we've mentioned. But it really starts with your business plan and kind of your 3 target markets. You want to know who you're trying to market to before you build all these things, because some of them are not necessary at the beginning.
One quick question. Hey, Brian, real quick, I just want to just kind of chime in real quick here. Well, a lot of small businesses that we have and startup companies, a lot of folks are accustomed to using the more traditional radio and newspaper advertisement or marketing. Can you expand on the key differences and the overall efficiency of using maybe that footprint versus tapping into a more of the social media and other marketing platforms that they can use? Because you'll find that people may be just a toss up between a budget of, okay, should I spend money over here on the radio, or should I go and do a newspaper ad, or can I spend my money on Facebook or any other marketing? What have you guys find for new startup business that would be more cost effective and more efficient for their time and efforts?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Tess. I just rose my hand real quick because I just want to take a second to affirm to anybody out there that this stuff is confusing. Yeah. There is a lot to it, and they pay multiple people multiple thousands of dollars to take every bucket of everything that we're talking about right here. Yeah. Wow. And to do it yourself, it is a heavy load. To think about it yourself, it is a heavy load. And you have your business to think about. So if you're just over here and your head's spinning and you're just hearing all these words, but nothing's clicking, that's fine, because marketing, digital marketing, it's levels to it. Of course, there's levels to everything. But of course, we just want you to absorb what's reasonable and makes sense to you right now. And this is all our full-time profession. And even like I just said, my job, I focus on newsletters and newsletters only. We have somebody else for websites. We have somebody else for social media. We have somebody else to look at audiences and how they're all working together and how we can best connect with them. They pay each and every one of them multiple thousands of dollars a year to do that type of work. So y'all are trying to take this on yourselves. It's a whole lot of stuff, but just, the more you hear about it, the more you get familiar with it, and the less scary it becomes over time. But you know, of course, we'll send resources on what you can do right now afterwards, because there is some things that you can do to just dive into the market without thinking about budget and audience building and all these other things like that. So I just want to speak to Terry's question on like traditional advertising. So that would be like your television, your billboards, your newspapers, your posters and flyers and things like that, as opposed to digital marketing. So like going on Facebook and doing a digital newspaper or things like that. I would just really say is up to money and market. So how much money do you have to spend, and what is the market you're trying to connect with, but also what can you control? So digital marketing is a lot more controllable in the sense that you can choose where you want it to exactly be. Like you were on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or all three of them. And you can also choose who you want those ads to appear for. And those are called reach and impressions. There's words for how to measure all of this. Yeah, it's about who you want to talk to, how much money you have to spend on it. And then, yeah, newspapers, you have less control about who sees it, who gets it. You know, only so many impressions you'll get. Facebook and Twitter and all of that, you can, you know, spend $300 and get 16,000 impressions, which means you have 16,000 people that saw this advertisement in a certain radius, and you can get like all that information about age, sex, demographic information like income and all this other stuff about people that saw your ad. So you kind of get more information like that on a digital platform as opposed to a newspaper or television.
Oh, thank you.
I guess, Terry, I would go back to your question, really specific. I work with a lot of small businesses, a lot of Northside businesses, and really at the beginning, I really just find that doing social media ads is the most cost-effective thing you can do, because you can throw $25 out and you can get a better return than spending $500 on some of the other things you mentioned. And I'm not saying those things are bad, but from a standpoint of just a budget, you know, you can really throw small amounts of dollars out and you can get returns. For example, I have a Spanish immersion preschool, and so it's a very specific demographic, right? People who want their kids to speak Spanish and English before they go to elementary school, because a lot of kids are doing immersion schools, right? So when you're in a school like that, it's pretty specific. You're probably a parent of a preschooler and you want to speak another language, or you're already bilingual. So there's some very specific things you can do with an audience like that to find them. And that's a lot easier on social media than it is with other publications. You know, TV is not that affordable for most folks at the beginning. So really speaking about the West Broadway Neon clients, they're the most affordable, and they're actually, you know, I don't want to say they're easy, because Facebook especially has made ads really difficult in the last year especially, but they're definitely something that you can put together as a small business owner, and you can look at the metrics and the outcomes of it. So that's positive. I'm a big fan. I probably spend the most money on Instagram because it's great for shoppers. Great for small businesses. I find the most return. Facebook has gotten really difficult, like I said, in the last year. So Instagram has gotten great rewards for the majority of my clients.
One thing I want to add too, as we're talking, you know, I think Tess and Pam have brought up great points about how this is so confusing and how it can be very expensive. One thing that, you know, and we are an agency of about 100 people that work on this every day. So Tess, yes, this is like our digital marketing therapy session for everyone, I think. But there are, you know, I think for small businesses, one way you could think about getting some expertise is to have an intern. There are a lot of younger kids, and there are also people that are graduating from college that are looking for opportunities to build their portfolio and to get some real experience with real businesses. And sometimes it doesn't even need to be paid. I mean, I've worked with a lot of the younger generation and say, just go walk into a business and ask, if you can do their social presence, or walk into a business and see if you can help them with their website. So I think that's something that that I would encourage everyone to think about. And secondarily, there are a lot of agencies like mine that support businesses through a pro bono. So we will work with clients free of charge and help them build their assets, or help work on a website, or do all their social content. And I think just with lots of agencies and other marketers looking to expand their DE&I efforts within our current environment right now, there's a really good opportunity to reach out to others and ask. I mean, the worst thing you can hear is no, or that would be, you know, the worst thing that could happen, but you might get some resources and get some help from people that you didn't think might pay attention.
I love it when our conversations start to be organic and all the dots start to connect themselves. So because we've done that, I'm going to combine these next two questions together, because I think in some of your answers, you've already touched on some of these things. First question is, what are the major benefits of having a digital marketing platform? And two, what tools do you recommend for the do-it-yourself business owners?
So I think, you know, some of the major benefits, and we've talked about this a little bit, but how targeted you can be. So you can really eliminate, we kind of call it waste, of people that you don't care to see your ads or see your message. So being targeted and then being highly measurable. Because I think, you know, with digital marketing, you are going to fail. There's going to be things that don't work, and you have to be comfortable with that failure, because you often are going to learn more from that than you will on the successes. And because if you see something's bombing, I mean, you can turn that off so fast and move on to the next thing, where other forms of marketing don't allow that. So it also, digital marketing, you can have an immediate response. So if someone responds to your text message, or clicks on your Facebook ad, or comments on your Facebook ad, it provides this immediate back and forth where you, the business owner and the brand, can have this authentic conversation with your potential customer right away and start to develop that relationship. So to me, those are kind of the biggest benefits.
Yeah, I would echo that, just in saying that targeted in the sense that, like we said, you can target your audience based on if they like, you know, interest areas, so like food or hair or you know, streetwear or whatever. There's like categories you can break people down to based off of interest and how much it relates to your product or your business. You can target people like that. That's what we mean when we say targeted. And you can also do it within a radius. So like literally you could put in a zip code and you can do it within a 2-mile radius of that. Or you can just do only South Minneapolis, only North Minneapolis, or like the Twin Cities and Mankato. Like you can break it down like that. And then you can also do, like, if they're interested in things that I search when I'm putting up a PBS ad, is like they're interested in CNN, and they're interested in social justice, and they're interested in anti-racism, and they're interested in PBS and NewsHour and this and the other. Facebook and the algorithms and targeted stuff, they like marry all that stuff together to circle and find those people that would fit that description. And then once they find that, you can, you know, track, you know, how many people saw your ad, how many people clicked on your ad, how many people interacted with your ad. So that's what we mean by like measurable, is like you can track all that. And then, yeah, engagement too. That's a really good point. You can directly engage with your audience. You can directly answer questions. You can directly see, you know, complaints or reviews or whatever. You can directly see all that and address all that on the spot, instead of like, you know, on a newspaper ad, of course, people see it and then, you know, you won't hear the word of mouth conversation about it. But here, you'll get to see it directly and address it right there. So it's kind of the benefits of digital marketing, I would say, and utilizing social media, you know, as you're getting started with your businesses and things like that.
So a couple things to add. Working with a lot of small businesses. My team works with a lot of small businesses. We work with mostly all small businesses. And we don't care much about the follower count and stuff like that. That's a little bit relevant, but we really care about safety. Does anybody buy something from you? So if you're running ads and no one's buying, well, then let's figure this out. Let's switch it up. So when you're a small business, you don't have gazillions of dollars to waste. You have to focus those dollars. So if people are not coming in and buying from you, and these are broad categories, right? Because some of you all might have a side hustle, some of you might have a store, some of you might have a restaurant, some of you might just be getting it pop-ups and things. So I'm using broad terms, but if you are out there and you are trying to sell things and you're not selling or you're not getting new customers, clients, then you want to switch it up. So I don't worry about followers as much as I worry about engagement, and I worry about sales, because if you don't sell and you don't get going, you don't stay in business. So my job is not to worry about how pretty your ad is. I do care how pretty it is, but I want people to comment. I want people to come in. I want people to buy from you and become a client or a customer.
Hey, Pam, one quick question as well. I think someone had mentioned earlier, as you're doing a lot of digital marketing, when do you get to a space where you recommend to the client, we ought to stop doing this and move forward with something else, or we ought to critique this a little bit, change the messaging? When do the client either pivot to a digital format, or do they stay with it long enough to see change? Can you help them understand staying with something long enough, or either do you just, you may dump some budget dollars here for a little while, and then if it's not working, you take away, or do you just stay with it, make change, and just kind of move forward from there? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, it's kind of like working from the start, though, is I guess where you can fix some of these before they even get to that bad point. So for example, like sometimes I get a million ads as I run so many Instagrams. I get a million Instagram ads on my Instagram, like my personal and my business. And then it's funny because I'll get like a food restaurant from DC, but I look at their page and I can't even tell they're from DC because they don't even have that in their profile, right? So I try to start with people from the beginning. Like, let's say, again, because you're new in business, you're trying to figure all this stuff out, and you have a profile. And I really, for the beginning, especially Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I really try to look at your profile first and go, okay, is this the strongest profile? Do you have that you're in North Minneapolis? Do you have you're in South Minneapolis? Do you have that you serve the whole Twin Cities? It's super important to have a good bio. That's a start, right? So you could be running ads, but you could have a terrible bio, and people might come to your page and not know that, oh, I can't even buy from you because you're not in my same city. So that happens sometimes, right? Because we run ads that are too broad because they don't know how to run ads. So I start from the beginning. I also work with people on, for example, right now, especially this last year since COVID hit, it's like, how do you actually sell? Are you selling? Are you dropping stuff off to people? Can they order it from your website and then you deliver it? Are they delivered? Do they do an e-commerce? If you're a restaurant, are you only doing takeout right now? Some of that messaging is super confusing in the last year and a half because of all the things we've gone through. So, talking about that messaging in the sense of, okay, you're running these ads, but they're really not efficient because the messaging is not correct. It's like things have changed. So you got to keep telling people what's going on. I also know people right now, like especially for restaurants, they're super understaffed and their food costs are crazy and their food is out because they can't always get chicken wings, for example. So, the more you're messaging that information to say, oh, guess what? We're going to have to close on Mondays because we don't have enough staff. You got to put that out there. So yes, I do look at people, what they're doing with their ads, but I also try to look at the messaging because maybe their messaging isn't really matching up with what's really happening with their business currently. But I do try to look at, yes, and I do look at all those things because, for example, like let's say you're spending a lot of money on Facebook. Well, Facebook is kind of dying right now. For smaller businesses, it's not as great. So maybe we need to spend more on Google ads and Instagram ads because those are better. So I'm not scared to say, hey, let's try something new, because if you're a small business, that might be the key to get it back going. So absolutely, it could just be, you could spend $25 and it doesn't go well and you're like, okay, what else should we do? So I think it's okay to mix things up. I don't think you have to be stuck with one ad or one idea. And then, I'm a big fan of Instagram. Instagram has worked for a lot of businesses. We were discussing earlier that I did some training for Neon and West Broadway last October. We were doing a pop-up event that got canceled, right? Because of COVID, the state shut back down in November. Nobody had those Black Friday events, small shop, small Saturdays. So I worked with a lot of businesses during that time. And for example, Roseland's Candles in Minnesota Black Box, they were kind of really at the beginning stages. They started last summer and they just went off the chain because they listened to digital experience, and they actually went out there. Roseland and Jessica from Minnesota Black Box did a ton of videos. So I was like, do videos, people like you, do as many videos as you can. So, you know, if you're watching this panel right now and you don't follow them, you should go follow them, MN Black Box and Roseland's Candles, because they're a great example of how to use digital marketing to make your business soar. Both of them are doing really well. Jessica just hosted a big pop-up for Juneteenth. Roseland is now in 15 stores. She's just got her own space. She just is opening up an actual physical store in September. So it does work. They took the training, they ran with it. They have fantastic people, first of all, great business owners, but they use the digital marketing to make their business go.
So here's a good question. You have this person who has not really, dealt with any aspect of digital marketing, but they're ready to make that move.
Yeah.
What thoughts should go into deciding which application works best for them?
I mean, me personally, I say don't do everything because you're going to make yourself crazy. It's hard to be an expert on all these different platforms, kind of what both of Maija and Tess have alluded to. I'm a big fan of Instagram. It works for shopping. It just went over 2 billion followers. People like it. It's not, it's easy. It's pretty easy to navigate. And not everyone is going to be able to manage it themselves. Or not everyone, they're going to not be able to hire people right at the beginning. So they're going to have to do it themselves. So, like for example, like I do consulting with small businesses. I'll do like a 2-hour power session and we go through and we kind of fix all the social medias. We go through specific questions so that they can do it themselves, but they have specific tools and specific questions answered to figure out how to do it. But I'm a big fan of Instagram really first. Instagram can be shared on Facebook, so you don't have to spend too much time on Facebook, but if you create the Facebook, you can share it from Instagram. And I'm also a big fan of Google, especially if you have a physical presence somewhere, because you got to be on Google so people can find you.
Yeah, there's some good tools too. I'll throw out, of finding like Pam's been talking about, who is your audience and where are they? So there's a platform called Think with Google, and you can go onto that website, and all of this is free, and you can do some digging around of who is your audience, where are they, what type of media are they consuming, and then also google.com/business, like Google My Business. That's where you can go and update your Google listing, your business listing on Google. And it also has a lot of really good, easy to understand resources for business owners. They have a help center, and they really help to explain things clearly. So those are good spots to start too, of just starting to do some research about where your audience is. And obviously those are both owned by Google, so they're going to point you in the direction of using Google products, same way that Instagram and Facebook do it. But there are some really good resources in those two locations as well for business owners.
Yeah, I would just think about the question, where is my audience going to find information, or where do I even go to find information? The two biggest places I go is Facebook and Google. If I'm hearing about a restaurant for the first time, or if I'm trying to find a salon for the first time, I go look for their social media and their website, just to start with that. So yeah, social media, depending on your business and where you find them, like she said, Instagram is becoming widely popular for kids, 35 and younger or whatever. Facebook's still popular for 35 and older sometimes. Twitter can go either way. Twitter's a whole different thing. I don't even use Twitter really like that. But yeah, you learn that information over time when you start learning about your audience and where they're at and spend their most of their time. And you can do that just with research, with the resources they provided, and then just also Googling information about audiences and finding them.
I also want to throw out 2 other tools, if that's cool. Going back to Pam, making, I don't care how pretty it is, but like you said, we do care how pretty their ads are. There are 2 really great tools that are free. Canva is one of them, and you can basically turn yourself into an amazing graphic designer using Canva. And then there's also a website, it's Pexels, it's PEXELS.com. I'll put it in the chat. But that's all free stock imagery. And I was digging around on it this morning, and there's some really beautiful images on there. And that can be a big cost of creating interesting content that is reflective of your target audience. So just from my little searching this morning, that was a website that was given to me by one of my colleagues this morning. The combination of those 2 things should give enough of a starting place to starting to create some of your own content that you can use either socially or on your website or through email marketing or things like that.
Yeah, I second Canva. Canva's great.
Wow. So here we are. We have all this information just in the last 40 minutes or so. I've gotten all this information from you all. So here's my question. Are there certain metrics or analytics to consider when making a selection?
Yes, I think Pam's talked about it a lot. Sales. I mean, if you can track directly back to what you're doing in the digital space that it converted someone and they have bought from that ad, do more of that stuff, because that's what's going to show you that works. I totally agree with Pam, like follower count and things like that they're not indicative of kind of success. And a lot of people spend money to increase those, which we kind of call a vanity metric. It's something that is not necessarily going to drive business. So I think if you can tie it to sales, great. If you can tie it to engagement, a lot of social, if people can comment on what you're posting, even if you're not boosting those posts or putting actual ads on the platforms. But if you can start to engage with people and having meaningful conversations and hopefully drive them to a sale, I think that is another more meaningful metric than just like a click. But people click all the time, or people don't click at all, and there's just click-through rates are very, very low, and not a good measure of success. So I think the closer you get to the sale is great, but if you can tie it back to an actual purchase, that's awesome. And so even if someone does come into your store or someone purchases online, you often are asked, how did you hear about us? Or so that's an important thing to continue to do as you start to venture into digital marketing, so that you can have a better understanding of how they found you and maybe what led to the sale.
Yeah, we have people that spend a lot of time in Google Analytics doing exactly that, tracking where people are getting our information, and where they're coming from the most. And they do that. We spend a lot of time at TPT doing what we call UTM codes, which I don't even know what a UTM stands for, but I know I use it a lot. But it's literally just a trackable link. So like, you have an ad on Facebook, an ad on Instagram, and an ad on Insight News. You create a different link. Well, it's like the same link, but you put a different little ending on it. And then that's where you track how many people click that link and where they're coming from and where they saw it. It shows all that on the back end on like Google Analytics. I think it's a free account thing that you can get, where you can see where people are going to your website, like where they're coming from, and things of that nature.
I was just going to throw out one thing to all the people watching today is we just threw out a lot of information to you, but if there's one thing I'd love for you to take away from this is that get comfortable with creating videos, because people are going to buy from you. If you're a small business and they see you out there, I mean, go look at Rosalind's, go look at Jessica's pages on Minnesota Black Box. They put videos out about themselves because people connect with them. So if there's one thing you're going to take away today, like maybe you don't have time to create all these social medias, or maybe you do a couple, but creating videos for yourself and putting yourself out there as a small business is going to really help you grow. People buy from you, they know who you are, they love you. Instagram also considers itself a video platform. So if you're going to spend time learning how to do things, I mean, I don't even like to do videos myself. It's not that great, really. Like no one really wants to look at their, their hair that day or whatever, but literally putting videos out is going to give you some of the best engagement and results from your efforts on social media. So get comfortable with that. Put it at the top of your list of things to do.
Hey, Brian, my last question I want to ask is, with all this information that we have, a lot of folks may want to know, how do I get training? How do I get a consultant or something like that? Or you may have a lot of small businesses that just may need a refresher on some of this information as well. Where can they go? Where can they get some resources available? Can you just kind of share?
Yeah, my favorite is YouTube University.
Okay.
Literally hours of YouTube I have spent. Consultants' favorite line is like, I stay 2 Google searches ahead of my client and 2 YouTube searches ahead of my client. That's a big secret, okay? Like, people are always just learning and learning. Like Maija said at the beginning, it's ever changing.
Mhm.
I don't even know everything about TikTok, but here they go wanting us to get into TikTok. And man, that's going to be popular for how long? And then the next thing's going to come along. Facebook's dying out. Instagram's got all new bells and whistles. So literally, like, half of my job is researching my job, like, and then the other half is applying it, because I get paid to do that. I get paid to stay on top of it and like research best trends and then apply them, and then dive into these new platforms and see how we can best apply them. So it's always forever learning, forever changing.
There's another learning platform you guys might be familiar with, people might be familiar with, called Lynda. It's lynda.com. It's actually called LinkedIn Learning. I just learned that because I Googled searched it.
Yes.
And it does cost money, but they offer a free month. So if you can go in and like really dedicate, okay, August, I'm going to do this. Those modules, and most of them are videos where they like walk you along. We've used them to learn something new, like things just fly at you all the time. But Lynda has been a really great platform in my experience. But like I said, it's called LinkedIn Learning now.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, YouTube's a great source and Clubhouse is a great source, but sometimes as a small business owner, you're just trying to, learn how to set your books up, and you have product coming in and your shipments didn't come in, yada, yada, yada. So, as much as you can learn on your own, it's worth it to find like someone like me. I could sit down with you for 2 hours. We can focus on what you need to fix, what needs to happen. Because maybe you can't afford to hire a marketing person, but it's worth it to try to find someone who really works with small businesses and can help you really just focus. Because that's the problem with small business ownership, is that so many things come at you and then you're just trying to focus to figure out how to get to the next level. So, there's a lot of consultants out there that can work with you. I really consider myself more of a coach, coaching you for 2 hours on what works in your industry, what works for small businesses in the Twin Cities, what works on the North Side, but really trying to get it going so that you can maybe get it set up and go on autopilot for a month. One of the things I really work with my clients on is we do a 30-day calendar, and we figure out what we're going to post for 30 days. And that's really daunting, but it's actually not, because it gives you some peace of mind. So as a small business owner, that's just a way to say, okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm gonna set up these, I'm gonna do 3 posts a week and I'm gonna put those on a calendar for 30 days. And now I got to think about, am I gonna create it on Canva? Am I gonna do a video? Do I need someone to videotape me? How do I want to create those videos? So content creation is like a whole nother day, but it does help to really just bring in some experts or watch it on YouTube and figure out how to, get going in the digital space.
Wow. As always, great information. One thing I just want to pull us back to, because this was kind of like the previous question, concerning metrics and analytics. Is there a relationship between studying those analytics and metrics into the final sales for an organization?
I mean, they can be. It depends on how you sell. Okay. So if you are able to marry the two together, that's awesome. A lot of times you can't, and that's where it comes in of either looking at other metrics that are indicate that they might be moving closer to a sale, or asking your customers when they come purchase from you, how did you hear about us? Kind of getting the information in different ways if you're not able to do it on the back end.
Yeah, it's really hard to like have like make a final say like, oh, this directly what's it called, contributed to my increase in sales. Like, it's really hard to say that, but like she said, there's indicators that show, okay, I did this, and this with marketing this month, and then next month my sales increased this much. Okay, how do we find those indicators? Well, that's where you go look at the metrics and see where those clicks were coming from on your website using Google Analytics, and seeing, okay, oh, this 300 of these clicks came from Instagram. What was that again? It'll click the link, it'll take you right to the Instagram post that everybody was clicking on. And then we took a look at that. Okay, what was so cool about this ad? Why did this catch people's eye? Was it the picture? Was it the caption? Was it, oh, somebody commented and tagged their friend, and then that just kind of blew up that way. So you kind of look at those indicators and those kind of things, and then that data, I should say, and then you kind of draw those parallels.
It doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, if you're a small business and you're interacting with your new customers or clients, ask them where they heard about you. So, that's more of it's not maybe an online metric, but for you ask for the next 20 customers where they came from, there should be some rhyme or reason to where they all came from. So you can build on whatever they said. I mean, it might be Google, it might be Instagram, but if you haven't asked, you don't really know. Because again, metrics don't always equal sales. You might have great clicks and everyone might comment, but if they're not coming to buy from you, or if your restaurant's not full every day or sales, then who cares about the digital marketing? You want to make sure that the sales are coming in the door. So however that looks.
Oh, and then one other thing I just want to throw out there is, I mean, like, again, word of mouth is always going to be your best friend. But in digital marketing, there's this thing we also call user-generated content. So like, say you got a product, ask them to post on Instagram, ask them to post on Facebook, take a picture and write a review or tag us, or, don't forget to use my hashtag. Like, you can ask people to do that on your behalf too, as part of like, whatever. And people see it expanding that way. And that's $3.99 too. Is just asking people, tag me, use my hashtag, thanks for your business, see you again. Word of mouth.
Yeah, there's a lot of research that shows that referrals or customer reviews are one of the best indications of someone that's going to buy. So yeah, using kind of your micro influencers, which are your current customers, and asking them to post on behalf of you, or as Tess said, put on your Google reviews. That's a huge, huge thing that doesn't cost you anything, but that could have a very big impact.
Wow. Thank you all so much. My apologies to our audience today. We didn't get to, I didn't see any questions listed, but if you do have questions, please pop them in the chat and we'll present them to our panelists for the day, and we'll follow up with a resource sheet with those answers. Let's give our panelists a hand today. We appreciate you all so much for taking out the time and being with us. As always, great information. Thank you so very much. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Felicia Perry, our Executive Director here at WBC, for final remarks.
I do not have any final remarks. Thank you all.
Thank you, West Broadway, Felicia, Neon, Terry, Brian, and all.
Yes, thank you.
You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Great job. Great information.
Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Hey, Tess, I'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Bye.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.